Hi everyone! Today I wanted to share with you my first from different authors, my fave, and then what I'm reading in the future. I actually just started a Bookstagram, so if you're interested, I'll link it down below. Come join me over there. I did a short version of this with no explanation, but I love to yap, so you get the extended cut here today. I love these videos. I think it's so fascinating to see like what introduced you to an author and then what is like your favorite from that author, because sometimes they're the same, oftentimes they're not. So I just love those videos. It was so fun making my own version of that. Let's get into which books are my first faves and what I'm reading in the future. So first, I thought it only natural to start with the author, the book that got me into being an adult reader, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue. I will talk about this book until the day I die. Anyway, I love this book, obviously. I watched the movie on a whim with my mom, and she was like, I read this book first, we should watch the movie. I was like, no, I think I need to read the book now. I've since read this book 3 or 4 times. It was the first book I read out of like high school, college era. It's still god tier to me. I loved it so much. Probably to no surprise, this is also my favorite from Casey McQuiston. I've also read One Last Stop from them, and I enjoyed that book, but it did not have the glitter, shimmer, sparkle of joy and hope that this book has. And I truly think what happened to me in this book is like special, unique, cannot be recreated very often. So I don't think that's a knock on One Last Stop, but this is just everything to me. So needless to say, this is my first and fave from Casey McQuiston. My future book from them is I Kiss Sarah Wheeler. Love the cover of this book. It reminds me of like Mean Girls kind of, so we'll see what this turns into. Next we have Taylor Jenkins Reid, who's probably my second author I read. After Red, White, and Royal Blue, I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was so good, of course. And that was probably my top read of hers until this past June when this gorgeous book was released. This is probably my top book of the year. I haven't decided yet, but I loved this book. It ripped me open emotionally. I think about this book all the time. This one's definitely my favorite of hers, if not my favorite of this year, in this gorgeous edition. I feel so lucky to own. I love it. Please pick this up if you haven't already. Stunning in every way. My next Taylor Jenkins Reid book is gonna be Daisy Jones and the Six. I think that's probably the one I want to read the most of out of what I've read from her. I've read Seven Husbands, Malibu Rising, Carrie Soto, and Atmosphere, so I think Daisy Jones needs to be next, but I want to listen to it on audio. Next, very early on in my reading journey still, I read Sarah Adams. This was the first one I read from her. It was cute, fun, but my favorite from her I've read so far is The Rule Book. These are in like the same interconnected series. This one was just like so much fun to me. It was like second chance romance, which I typically don't like, but they like work really well together. It's like an agent and an NFL player. They got accidentally married and went on vacation. Just so much fun vibes happened in this book. I've also read When in Rome by her, and I did not. That was my least favorite of hers that I've read. But really I wanted to read the When in Rome series because I wanted to read Practice Makes Perfect and Beg, Borrow, or Steal. So I had to read that because I have to read things in order. So I had to read When in Rome to get to these. So next, naturally, will be Practice Makes Perfect. I also own The Match by her. She has quite a few books out, and they're like all on my list. But this one is definitely the highest on my priority from her. Next, Emily Henry, of course. My first read from her was Beach Read, and I read the original paperback, but I have this beautiful special edition now. This is my first read from her. I loved it. Immediately when I was reading it, I was like, there is something to this. There's something about this woman, these characters, this universe. I'm eating it up. I loved it. I also think the vibes I read in, I was on vacation, I was reading outside, it was sunny, like just peak. However, my favorite, this was hard, and honestly, if I reread them, my opinion might be different, but like Tried and True Book Lovers, I think is my favorite. It's the one I think about the most. I thought this was amazing. Like, this is amazing. I love Nora and Charlie. I loved small town vibes. I loved their workaholicism. I could just eat them up. But I also loved Funny Story. They're all 3 of these 2 plus Funny Story are all on my like all-time fave shelf. So for my next read, it has to be The Great Big Beautiful Life. That's the only one I haven't read yet. But honestly, I could see myself doing a reread of one of these 3, these 2 plus Funny Story. I want to reread all of them and highlight them and annotate them. But for new books, Great Big Beautiful Life, and I'm waiting for it to come out on paperback, which is why I haven't read it already. Okay, my next one is Frida McFadden. My first book by her was The Housemaid, which I liked. but didn't love. I had just read Verity like not that long before that, so it did feel like too similar to me. There are too many similarities between those books to be reading them that close together. They're both good books on their own, but I did not need to read them that close together, so it was okay. I've also read The Coworker, The Locked Door, The Boyfriend. Of those, The Boyfriend was my favorite, which I feel like might be an unpopular opinion. I really enjoyed The Boyfriend. I feel like it really felt like a true crime, like a Dateline episode. Like you think one crime's gonna happen and then plot twist another crime and perpetrator are revealed, and I just really like that aspect about it. Yeah, super fun. As for my next read, I have a ton of her books on my TBR because I mean she writes so many good thrillers. I feel like even if you don't love them, they're still like gonna be gobbled up, you know what I'm saying? Probably like the one that's the most priority to me is The Housemaid 2, just because I love to check off that I finished a series, and I actually have a physical copy of that one, so I would say The Housemaid 2, which I didn't pull and I don't see it on my shelf, so I don't know where she went. The Housemaid 2 is gonna be my future for Freida McFadden. Next, my I feel like current obsession is Ali Hazelwood. This is my first Ali Hazelwood read, and I feel like I'm so glad I started with this one because I feel like if I had started with the wrong one, we might be on a different page. I started with Check and Mate, which is so freaking good. After this, I read Deep End and I was like, oh, that wasn't for me, and I've heard a lot of her other books are cringe, so I was like, I don't know if I can do it because this is amazing. Definitely future reread happening with this one. Then recently I read Bride and absolutely ate it up. Loved it. There was a couple things that happened at the end that took it down a star for me, but I had like 5-star feelings through almost the whole thing. I loved it, and I've never read, what is it called, like Omegaverse? I've never read a book like that, and I did not think I was gonna like it, and I thought I was gonna cringe. There are some things you just have to overlook. You just have to. But overall, it's a really good book. However, also a recent read within the last like month and a half, The Love Hypothesis. I never thought I would be holding this up as my favorite Ali Hazelwood book because I feel like everyone cons on this book. You either love or you hate it, and I thought I was gonna be a hater. I am not a hater. I am a lover, and I'm now a lover of Ali Hazelwood officially. Like, it's been a long time since I was like staying up super late to read a book, giggling, squealing, sitting up so I could keep reading. This book did that to me. I enjoyed it so much. So this is my fave from Ali Hazelwood. For future, hers are hard because I kind of want to read all of them. Originally I was going to pick Love Theoretically because I feel like of the STEM romances, this is the most popular, but then I also just got my hands on Mate, so I don't know what should be next because both of these sound incredible. Ali Hazelwood, I love you so much. Next we have Lila Sage, who I really love. Kind of like Sarah Adams, like very simple, brainless, good fun romances. Pursued Done and Dusted, of course, the first book of hers, and it's the first in a series. I have to read in order. I really enjoyed this one. I think I rated it 4 stars. Good time, fun time, loved the setting. I loved the family vibes, all of it. A few months ago I read Swift and Saddled, and this one is my favorite between the two. I want to read like all of her books, the rest of the series, and the new one, Soul Searching, she just released. But between these two, this one was my fave. I just loved their connection a little bit more. I loved both of their characters individually a little bit more. I loved the setting, obviously is the same, but like in this one she's an interior designer and she's doing a lodge, and I just loved it. It was perfect. Future for me, probably whatever's next in this series, but possibly also Soul Searching. I don't know which one I would go to first, but one of those. Lauren Roberts. My first read from her was, of course, Powerless, her debut novel. I love this book. I have similar feelings about this book to Red, White, and Royal Blue. Like, me and this book just have a special connection together. I'm staying up, it's consuming me, it's all I'm thinking about. I'm making playlists, I'm watching edits. Like, just like Red, White, and Royal Blue, this book took over my life for a decent amount of time. And when I went to pick a favorite, I had a really hard time because I read Powerless and I was like, nothing can ever top this. But obviously, considering the cliffhanger this one leaves on, I had to read the next one. Then I read Reckless and I was like, that was different, but still 5 stars. I don't know which is my favorite. And then Fearless came out and I still 5-starred that one. Loved it, really 6-starred all of them. I could not decide, but honestly, I think if I had to choose, I would choose Powerless because I think what is captured for me in this first book like cannot be recreated. The feelings I had reading it, the experience I had, like my first romantasy, it's just perfect. I would read it a million times. I would cut off my left leg to read it again for the first time. Future, whatever she puts out next, I'm fully up to date on all of her books. So whatever is next for her is next for me. Then we have Holly Jackson, who wrote the Girl's Guide to Murder series. I got these as gifts from the same person, and can you say taste? Because oh my god, I love this book. Again, ate it up, was flabbergasted. Okay, I adore this book. TV show was not it. Adore this book. I adore the whole series. I've read the whole series. I loved it. My favorite from her has to be this one. This one just is the standout for me. The second book was good. I enjoyed it, but not like as blown away as I was by this one. And then the third one was absolutely bonkers. Like, I will never forget that book, but it was the weakest of the three, so this is my favorite. I've also read by her Five Survive, and I did not enjoy that book. Next is Not Quite Dead Yet. I couldn't think of the title. I'm like, there's a brain on the cover. Not Quite Dead Yet will be my next read from her. I've been wanting to buy it, but I don't want to buy it with the Good Morning America sticker on the cover, so I'm hoping we can get through those and I can pick a different one. Then last but not least, we have Abby Jimenez. I feel like I've read her books because I've heard so many people talk about them, but really I've only read Part of Your World series. This is the first one I've read of hers. Loved this book. Super fun. The main female character did get on my nerves a little bit. She was like very much a little too wishy-washy for me, very non-committal for me when he was like the dream man, so I needed them to like get it together, and they did. It was fun, and I love small town. I'm a small town girly. I loved it. Favorite though would have to be Yours Truly. I thought this was gonna be like a 5-6 star. I loved it, but there was just too much miscommunication for me, which I feel like is a critique of Ali Hazelwood's books a lot. I feel like that's a typical problem her characters have, is not communicating, and it was on display in this book. More so the fact that it was like intentional miscommunication. There were lies like, no, actually I don't feel that way, and that irritates me. I hate that so much. Similar issue in Bride. That's what knocked off a star for me there. Similar here. Both of those books though are still so freaking good. I love Jacob in this. Oh my god, king. Definitely could see myself rereading this. And then naturally next, I have all of her books on my TBR, but I really want to continue the series, finish the series. I feel like this is a lot of people's favorite of the three, so I'll be interested to see if I feel the same. I really wanted to read this summer, but I finished this one like the end of August. To me, that's fall, so I couldn't pick up this one, so next summer we shall see. That is all I have for you today on my first faves and futures of some of my authors that I've read more than one book of. Please go check out my new bookstagram. I've been having fun over there. I have lots of ideas for what I'm gonna do with that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.